All India Radio. Regional News Unit of All India Radio presents an interaction with Professor V.Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, on the first G20 Education Working Group meeting to be held at IIT Madras. In conversation with him are News Editor S. Joy.
Welcome listeners. In today's episode on G20 series, we are happy to listen to the Director of IIT Madras, Professor V.Kamakoti. Good morning, sir. So, we are preparing for the G20 Education Working Group meeting in Chennai. What are the preparations that has been exactly going on?
There will be two major events. One is the working group meeting that will be happening. But most importantly, for the first time in the G20 series, we are now attempting something called a seminar and an exhibition. This is for all the countries to understand in a very quick and comprehensive manner what other countries are doing, what are the best practices they are following, specifically in the three areas. One is higher education, another is school education, which is K to 12, and skill development. So we will have 3 panel sessions involving all the countries. Some specific countries will be panel speakers, but all the countries will participate in the discussions targeted towards school education, higher education, and also on skill development. And that is one of the major events that is going to happen on January 31st at IIT Madras Research Park. During that day and subsequently February 1st and 2nd, 3 days, we are going to have an exhibition. The exhibition will have 2 themes. One theme is what are the educational initiatives that are taken by the government. So we are seeing overwhelming participation from different countries, and also our government and also state government will be showcasing all very important educational initiatives that we have taken. And on the other hand, we will also, every country will showcase some of the digital technologies that have been adopted in this country. For example, immersive learning, virtual reality. So we have these 2 themes. We will have this exhibition. On the first day, it will be open to people who are part of that seminar. But the second and third day, it will be open for all school children and college children to come and see what is happening across the world. We want to create an awareness, specifically in our state, among our children, our kids, what is happening across the world and where do we stand. I also have a firm belief that we are doing something which is world class. So broadly, this is what is going to happen in IIT Madras, and the subsequent 2 days there will be a working group meeting in Chennai.
So, India is a global hub for education, and especially higher education is being sought after by many countries. And many global leaders, young leaders are from India, and especially IIT Madras is having a special place in the global hub industry. So you are taking it from the school level, and how important it is to be taken from the school to the higher level and to a global level.
Every day, the first obeisance you need to pay is your LKG teacher, because in many cases it will be she, right? It's a woman power there, Nari Shakti. They are the kindergarten teachers and they teach you A, B, C, D, Ana, Vanna. So I think school education is very, very important. As Tiruvalur has also told in his Tirukkural, right? Ennum ezhuthum da rendu kannu. Okay, so that is foundational literacy and numeracy are very, very important. I think we will be losing quite significantly if we don't touch school education. That's why even if you look at the way IIT Madras has been functioning, we have been reaching out to schools. Now we have made it a much more focused because of Corona. There was some sort of a delay or some sort of a inhibitions in getting to the schools because of the lockdowns and etc. But that we have crossed all those barriers and now we are reaching out to schools. So school education is extremely important. And every country today will look at what we call as the gross enrollment ratio. Specifically in India, we have a target for the gross enrollment ratio. And if we really want to enhance that gross enrollment ratio, we need to intervene at the school level. And so we need to understand what the different governments across the world, different countries, what are their best practices with respect to school education. And that is something foundation for us. Because today we have a very youthful country, and tomorrow when we continue to be a youthful country, we need to be a most educated youthful country. It will have a big impact on our economy and many other things. I think school education is extremely important, and that is why we have given prominence for that.
So, talking about higher education, how are you going to take this prospect after G20? And how it is going to benefit the youth?
Yeah, now today when we look at higher education, we have a national education policy which has come out very clearly on what we call as interdisciplinary education. So every education, every course today, if you want to make sense, has to become interdisciplinary. And it is also important that different parts of the world are experiencing different varieties of problem in the same domain. Right? Agriculture problem in India versus agriculture problem in, say, US, other countries are different. Sometimes automation helps, sometimes automation may not help. So there are a lot of if and buts and stuff like that. Now, when we look at higher education, specifically on niche areas like Industry 4.0, telecommunication sector, space sector, etc., there are a lot of country-specific things and country-specific do's and don'ts. And an understanding of that is very important when we talk of saying I'm going to do a global collaboration. When I train my students to basically go to be a world leader, you should understand what the world is. I think this platform, this interaction will pave a lot of ways with so many gates for us to continue our interaction with the higher education learning. Because now we have a understanding at the top, highest level. I don't think there is any other level higher than this. And this understanding we need to leverage and form certain global platforms where we have a sort of a unified understanding of different issues across the countries, do's and don'ts, and try to evolve curriculum, training methodologies, joint degree programs, which will be a globally recognized and globally useful and effective thing. Again, there is something called recognition. But in my opinion, the recognition comes only when we deliver effective things. The moment you are effective, you are already recognized. Today, when we want to have a globally effective curriculum, the participation of all these countries are very important. And I think this G20, we will certainly use this to see how we can consolidate on this.
Talking about the global education, how our quality should be like giving quality education to the people?
We have been consistently improving on the quality. Now, the first step is that we are also trying to work very, very closely with the schools. What I expect from a student who is going to come and join me, I need to tell the schools. So as you see, we have started a lot of programs here. One of the programs, we'll be launching the data science program, where we have reached out to the schools, we have called the school teachers, and we have started interacting with the schools. I think that is very, very important because higher education has certain expectations which the students should have good ground on which they have basically got that strong foundation, and that essentially translates into a good higher education. In that way, communicating with the schools from an higher education perspective is very, very important, and that is what we have been doing consistently. And today when we start talking to our schools, many children also prefer to go and do even the undergraduation abroad. Today we have something called an international syllabus, national syllabus, CBSE, state board, so many syllabus are there. Can I have a syllabus which will make him an international student? And these are all evolving process. So this syllabus today may not be the best syllabus tomorrow. My take on this would be that after this, we will form some vibrant working groups across countries. We will meet regularly and we will start discussing some of these outcomes of what is a great syllabus, what should we do, what is not there. And I think that is going to be a very important thing. And as higher educational institutions, specifically IIT Madras, we are ranked number 1 in the country. We have to respond to any academic need in the country. If there is an academic need, it is our responsibility to basically respond to that. So, and that is that way, this G20 is going to give us a very wide platform for us to open up these interactions.
When we talk about education, skill is also much needed, and we do need to update our skills. So, is IIT going to do something about that? And how good is G20 platform to carry that forward?
So G20, we have specifically concentrated on skills. And one of the important aspects of national education policy is this multiple exit type of programs where, and no age gap. So you've seen the BS data science. Again, I quote that as an example because it is something which has gelled well so much with the national education policy. Today, I have people with 40 years or 50 years or even 82 years have actually come and joined that program. And they are trying to reskill themselves. Data science is one skill that is needed today. So people are viewing data science as a degree, as a research, as an education leading to employment, and also a reskilling method by which they can change their job or they can become more effective in their current job. As a bank employee, when I learn data science, I can start predicting NPS much better than anybody else. I can do better credit appraisal. So these are some of the ways. So skill essentially comes from giving such type of courses where you don't have an age gap, ceiling on the age, and you allow people and they do it in a self-paced manner. I think that is one very important ingredient, and that is now currently available in many platforms today. I gave IIT Madras BS Data Science as an example. Across the world, skill has been a very important topic because today with 5G, there are a lot more changes that are going to happen right from A for agriculture to O for ocean, right? So we see all the engineering disciplines and humanities. Humanities also will have a change. We are looking at digital humanities everywhere. So people who are the working class in this area, there's a future of work. That's also going to be a G20, a separate seminar that's going to happen on future of work. That is going to become extremely important here. This skilling as a concept, since we have dedicated one session on skilling and we have exciting speakers lined up for that, very good platform, where we understand the skill sets of different countries. What are the different ways by which they identify what is needed for tomorrow? See, in skilling, the main thing is I need to know what I need, say, 5 years down the line. And how do I form curriculum? How do I make this human capacity? Because when the market is ready, when there is a need, and many of these ideas will come up, and we would like to understand how other countries are doing and what we are doing also.
You were talking about the market. So education needs research, and research work is also an essential component nowadays. So how do you think that research activities will benefit? And we are also a country with 107 unicorns and more than 80,000 startups. So how education will benefit the researchers, and also how will they get the help for introducing a startup?
So innovation and entrepreneurship is very high today. And this Anusandhan, which our Honorable PM has said, is very, very important. Because when I want to invest, I need to invest on some idea, right? And the idea comes from research. If you don't have research, everything is stopped there. So basic fundamental research and what we now call as transformational research, which will translate your research into a product, are extremely crucial, and every educational institution today is talking about it. It's not just the top institution, tier 1 institution, tier 2, tier 3. Everybody is today talking about innovation and entrepreneurship. There is an increasing thought process among young kids that they need to become employers rather than employees. Right? They want to have their own startup. So there are many efforts that they are taking. For example, government has taken, many committees are formed, and we are continuously debating and discussing about how to build the next generation entrepreneurs and technocrats. This is happening on a regular basis. The Atal Innovation Mission is also one big step in that direction which the government has taken. Every institution, for example, if you take IIT Madras, we have many, you can also visit our Center for Innovation. So these will help in a systematic way translate your idea into a research problem, into a solution, into a patent, into a product, and into a startup, and mentor the startup to become unicorn. Now, we are now seeing very positive trends in this. We have incubated close to 300 companies. Around 80% of those companies are doing very well. And we want to break those things by saying that almost every startup that comes out of our bandwagon should be successful. And that we need to mentor them at an early level. And if the ideas don't work, we say goodbye, just do some other idea. That is something very, very important.
So what do you want to tell the younger generation in our country about G20? And how is it going to help us in our education and also in the future of our country?
Young children, this is what I have to advise. One thing is that do what you like. There is a scope for everything that you do. And what G20 will give them is an understanding for not only the government but also all the educators and this whole events that are happening at different places, the coverage that you are doing at AIR and other places. All these things is collective knowledge. Will not only tell them what they are doing is useful, but where these things would be applicable in a global level. So they will get a global understanding. Okay, I want to do photography. Where is photography used across the world? They will get an idea. That is one thing. So rather than just understanding India as destination of where their ideas or research or passion will be applicable, they can understand it at a global level. I think this is the biggest mindset change that we can bring to the youngsters.
Thank you so much, sir, for spending your time. We expect that G20 Education Working Group will be a success and will provide a bright future for all our youngsters.
Thank you.
You were listening to an interaction with Professor V.Kamakoti, the director of IIT Madras, on the first G20 Education Working Group. In conversation with him was our news editor S. Joy.